Honorable Men Discord. Masculinity. Does your hair define your masculinity? Let's talk about it. So let's get straight to it. I can't make this up. Jason Whitlock and Cam Newton, ever since my last episode on Candidly Cam, it seems they've been going back and forth. Now, I didn't even know this because when I was putting this together, I saw a video that Jason Whitlock did on masculinity, and Jason Whitlock decided to target Cam Newton for his long hair. And Jason Whitlock believes the generation of men that wear these exotic looking hairstyles are leaning towards the feminine side. And this is an interesting topic as far as masculinity is concerned. Is your masculinity determined by the length of your hair? What do you all think? Now, as far as length of hair is concerned, I'll say this. The one thing I can say about men with long hair is it really depends on the occupation of that particular man. Now, if that man is in the corporate field, it's a known thing in the corporate field, in the corporate world, long hair isn't preferred. As a matter of fact, if you're in the corporate field and you have long hair, it's best that you cut your hair. And you could disagree with what I'm saying in terms of long hair in the corporate field, but if you take a look at corporate America, you almost never see anyone with long hair. And if that person has long hair, if you know of someone in the corporate field that has long hair, that person's probably at the very top. Now, I want to say the corporate industry, corporate field, they might have become more lenient when it comes to facial hair. But as far as long hair is concerned, it's not a thing in corporate America. But this is not about corporate America. Based on what Jason Whitlock spoke about on his podcast Fearless, this is about what defines masculinity. And here's the thing, masculinity, I don't think, can be defined by length of hair, right? And I understand the old way of thinking when Jason Whitlock made his argument, because Jason Whitlock is in his 50s, Cam Newton is in his 30s, early 30s, and Jason Whitlock looks at it as though masculine men don't engage in long hairstyles because it's something that women prioritize. Like, you know, going to someplace to get your hair done as a man for a lengthy amount of time is in Jason Whitlock's opinion, is not masculine. But I'll let Jason Whitlock explain this. This is a clip from Jason Whitlock's podcast Fearless. Take a look.
Makes him look weak. Nobody wants a transgender quarterback. He behaves like someone who folds at the first sign of resistance. The 2015 NFL MVP Cam Newton and the 2010 national champion Cam Newton, the clean-cut Cams, were resilient warriors who fought through adversity and criticism. They were super Cam. Unfortunately, Newton pivoted to supermodel Cam. He succumbed to the matriarchal culture promoted across social media. Real men, unfortunately, are in short supply. But this obsession, this over-the-top obsession with fashion and just hair. And I don't have 2 hours to spare. And again, I know I'm an old person, but when I was young, I didn't have 2 hours to spare on getting my hair done. And I didn't have, wasting all the money to maintain that hairstyle and just even going through the trouble. I can't imagine how, and again, I can only speculate how uncomfortable it is to sleep with some of these hairstyles these dudes are wearing. I've certainly have been friends and have dated a few women that, like, you know, they had to sleep a certain way because they were afraid of messing up their hair. That I just paid all this money for and blah, blah, blah. And so they're sleeping halfway up, trying to stay off their hair. And I'm like, what man has time for this and would give away energy for this? It's just baffling, and it's just sad. And I could sit here and be angry at women, but I got to put it on us, just because the reason why this is going on is because we're not there in the home.
So I agree, masculinity for decades has been defined by short hair. And you know this because when some women who live an alternate lifestyle aim to portray themselves as the male, they generally cut their hair short. So shorter haircuts for decades has been known as the look of a man. Again, which is why certain females that live an alternate lifestyle, they'll cut their hair short, and then they'll wear certain outfits that are quote unquote manly, right? And longer hair has been associated with women, and this is something that has been portrayed as an image as feminine, even in Disney films. When you see the princess in the movies and the Disney films, the princess, the female, is associated with long hair, right? And the prince would have shorter hair. I think the exception to that might be Beauty and the Beast. I think in Beauty and the Beast, after the prince turned from a beast into a prince, I believe he had long hair, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I believe he had long hair. But that's like the exception to the rule. Most of the prince characters in Disney films had short hair. But again, I personally don't believe masculinity is defined by one's hair. I would go as far as saying masculinity is a mentality, which is why masculinity can be displayed by women, which is why oftentimes you'll hear certain men saying to women, "You're acting masculine." And that's because masculinity carries certain traits and behavior that defines masculinity, right? So women can display actions of masculinity. So I would say masculinity is more of a mind state. So rather than the argument of Jason Whitlock saying masculinity is defined by a hairstyle, I would say masculinity is a mind state. Example, as a man, without anyone having to say it, if a man is in the company of females and danger arises, a man is supposed to step up and protect the females. Now, whether or not that man chooses to accept his role as a man, that's what's expected. Now, I don't know if that has changed out there in the world, but again, I'm going to repeat, if a man is in the presence of women, if he's the only male and danger arises, a man is expected to be the first to step up to protect those women. That's part of being masculine. What's not masculine is if in that same scenario, a man is in the presence of a bunch of women, the man cowers away and pushes a female to the forefront. Now, we're not saying that women can't protect themselves, but in general, it's expected that the man is to protect. Same thing goes in the household. Same thing applies for the household. In the household with the male and female and children, if danger arises, it's expected that the man puts himself in the front of his family and assesses the level of danger. If the reverse happens, at that point, people will question the man's masculinity, because they'll say, well, if you were home, and I'm saying in general, if people were to ask the man, if you were home with your wife, why was it that your wife went out to danger first before you? That's masculinity. And it has nothing to do with the length of your hair. All right? The image of a man for decades has been certain things that a man wears, trousers, pants, certain haircuts. But as time has evolved, you'll see that women wear pants, women wear shorter haircuts. So masculinity is not within the hair. If you disagree with what I'm saying, feel free to comment within the comment section. But I disagree with Jason Whitlock. Now, the funny thing about this perspective of Jason Whitlock is, I believe that it's solely motivated by his disdain for Cam Newton. Ever since Cam Newton had some choice words about Jason Whitlock on his show, Cam Newton's show, 4th and 1, they've been going back and forth. It's almost comical. I truly just wanted this particular episode to be about masculinity, but I couldn't help but partake in the buffoonery between Jason Whitlock and Cam Newton. And all of this is because of the lawsuit by Faraji, the Fox Corporation lawsuit that was filed by Faraji, and the implications of Joy Taylor and her harassing Faraji and potentially moving up in ranks due to her seductive ways. Right? So ever since Cam Newton defended Joy Taylor, Jason Whitlock had something to say about that. Cam Newton responded, and then Jason Whitlock, from what I could see from this morning when I was doing my research, Jason Whitlock is on a campaign of he's on a campaign of verbal assault on Cam Newton. It's hilarious. If you're not following that back and forth between both podcasts, 4th and 1 and Fearless, which is Jason Whitlock's podcast, here's a clip from both podcasts with their back and forth. Take a look.
Female broadcasters are the greatest thing since sliced bread, or is he just doing whatever is possible to survive and remain relevant now that he's never going to play football again?
Probably all of that, and he probably did not realize there's this thing called Google. Here's my message to Cam. My guy. No. You're not my guy. Come on. The thing that is interesting about what he said about you, and by the way, a lot of reaction videos to all the content creators, thumbs up whether you agree or disagree with this, but Cam really showed what a simpleton he is. Jason, you never really...
Pause right there. I'm going to tell you like this. Since y'all mentioned motherfuckers like Harvey Weinstein and the Me Too movement and Cam, Captain Save-A-Ho, I'm going to put both of y'all motherfuckers, Jason Whitlock and Steve Kim, in the U2 movement. I don't do none of these name calling and all that shit. I'll put it like this, bro. If I see you, all I ask is keep that same energy. Because I'm going to tell you this. as a former athlete, talking to a person, giving this person energy you are a former athlete, Jason. High school teammate with Jeff George, the Ball State. Yeah, that's cool. But you ain't me. You never was that guy. Mr. Kim, simp, cool. Keep that same energy when I see you. I think we have to normalize this in sports. Now, the rabbit got the gun. Now, the athletes got the opportunity to speak up for themselves. Now, we really can go toe for toe if that's what y'all really want to do. So it was a lot of things that was spewed.
In my view, looked kind of silly. You looked intellectually overmatched. And so it's like, hey, I'll beat you up. Okay. What am I supposed? Oh my God, Cam Newton wants to beat me up. Cam says he's going to see me at the Super Bowl and I need to keep the same energy. Oh my God. I better have security with me and I better not go to the Super Bowl. Cam, that's not how this goes down. That's not how it is. And just because I'm old and fat don't mean I don't forget how to throw these hands. It's Steve Kim that I'm worried about. But anyway, let's play the clip.
All right, so it's entertainment. You know, I don't want it to spill over into any type of physical altercation because it's just distasteful. All right, why is it that we as black men are the only ones doing this stuff? You don't see other nationalities that have podcasts feuding on this level to the point where they're making public threats of confrontation. Again, 2025, we got to do better. We got to do better as a race. All right? But if you disagree with what masculinity is, by all means, I'll be waiting in the comments. But again, I disagree with Jason Whitlock. He's a very intelligent man, but masculinity isn't about one's hair, all right? Because there are men with long hair. They could be Rastafarians with long dreadlocks. That doesn't make them feminine. Masculinity is a mind state. Masculinity is the mind state of knowing that you can't look to the left or right for answers. You got to figure it out and make things happen, all right? Because you have people and yourself depending on you. Masculinity is knowing that you are a leader and you're expected to come up with the solutions for whatever that problem is. That's masculinity. If you disagree with that, by all means, again, I'll be in the comments. Which is why, again, some men will tell women that act aggressive that they're acting masculine. All the women that proclaim, I don't need no man, I could do it all by myself. It's looked at as masculine because the man's role is to provide. The man strives to provide. Now, this doesn't include women that are single and have a family. They're forced to take on those masculine traits because they have to provide for their family. But we're talking about in situations where it's a man and woman in a household, and the woman is leading more than the man in all aspects. Again, if danger arises and there's a man and a woman under the same roof, it's almost a given that it's expected that the man is the first one to address the danger. And this is something that boys that grow and turn into men, they all know if they were taught right. But if they weren't taught right, that's a whole nother story. But I personally learned off of example. If there was any type of issue that involved addressing other men, my father addressed that situation. My mother would not address those situations. All right. As always, I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your support. Like, share, subscribe. Take care.